or good afternoon, everyone. It's always my morning, but your afternoon for a lot of people here. So we are going to have a great show today, and I saw that a lot of you guys was already in the chat making me laugh. I'm really excited about our guest today. And we'll get to talk to him. And for a lot of you, you guys know who he is. You are very in tune with Robbie and Redhead Reptiles. And then there's some of you who may not be. So we're going to get to learn more about Robbie as the person today. And then as always, get into the reptiles as well. So let me just say hi to everybody in the chat so far. Hey, Eric. Hey, Wills. So Will said, Robbie, lucky. I should have Robbie's job, lucky son of a bitch. Shouldn't we all, right? Yeah, he definitely has the dream job. Eric said, hey, Nicole and Robbie. Hey, Stan, good morning. How are you? Hey, Ken, good morning. Ken, you're going to get me. I promise I'm getting to the post office on Monday. Wiz, hey, bro, how are you? You made another one. Yes. Hey, Tammy. Yeah, so definitely, like I said, our guest is going to be super dope. Next week, guest is going to be a great one, too. Going to be Jim Jolly. It's going to be a retic conversation, so y'all know that I'm going to enjoy that. Jim Jolly is the top breeder that I get my retics from. Most of my retics are from him. So you guys will definitely get to have more conversation with him. Again, good morning, Iron Dog. So if you guys can go ahead and share this out. Of course, as always, we just want to go ahead and play our video. And as everybody come in, we'll definitely shout you out and welcome you. This is, like I said, it's going to be a good one today. So hang in there. All right, so that's the lovely video. So we're going to update that video after March 10th. I think I'm just going to update it after every 10th because that's the real family reunion to me. So without any delay, we're going to bring on Robbie. Good morning, afternoon again, Robbie.
Yeah, good afternoon. Glad to be here. I love that video. That was awesome.
We love it. So what I did was just took a bunch of pictures from the very last Tinley. Of course, I couldn't. The video would have been long if I put all the pictures in there from Tinley, but I wanted to pick special moments to kind of summarize what was special about that particular Tinley. So definitely.
Yeah. I love seeing the community together.
Yes. And I just wish it was more of that Tinley vibe on this side, on the East Coast. Which for you is a big difference because you're coming from Florida to Maryland, and Florida has a lot of the breeders down there and a lot of events for as the bigger reptile shows. So have you been to any reptile shows here yet?
Yeah, I've been to Gettysburg. I went there twice so far. It's a good little show, just hanging out, meeting new faces. It's really cool though. I never knew anybody up here, and the first Gettysburg show, I come up and I'm like, oh my god, I know who you are, and they know who I am. It was neat to have that community interaction.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of the internet now, the social media. You actually like build these relationships prior to meeting people. So like when you actually just meet them, you forget that you never met each other in person, and you're able to
Oh, yeah.
identify each other. So it's like I said, it's like a family reunion. You get to meet each other in person, but definitely it's one of my favorite things. So my favorite thing now, this Tinley, I spent more money than we ever planned to spend. I never like normally spend money at shows, but this Tinley, they brought out the heat. Like it was just like it was no way that I could just walk away from some of it.
That's
So
awesome.
and it was just like insane. But normally for shows for me, Robbie, it is just that. It's like the getting together, like everybody kind of hanging out. That I really like about it, and then of course seeing all of the cool animals.
Yeah, like I can relate to that. I mean, I started out, I'm an introvert, like that's who I am. But I started out going to these shows just wanting to see the animals, not wanting to really talk to anybody. And then over the years, I kind of started asking questions. Of course, I got more passionate about the ball python genetics and all that. And, you know, just started making friends with breeders. And over the years, all that has kind of led me here. But it wouldn't have happened if I never, started talking with the people behind the stands. And, I always tell people, like, yeah, we're in the animal business, but it is a people business first and foremost. The relationships and network and community you build, that's huge.
Absolutely. And that's where also the integrity piece kind of builds.
Yes.
Like, I would tell you that I, I mean, right, wrong, or indifferent, there's certain breeders that you're going to purchase animals from, and you will spend all the money that you possibly would, can, if you have it, because you trust that that animal is going to come to you healthy. And if it does not, that breeder got your back. You build those bonds, those long-term relationships. And that really honestly for me, who when I flipped from that keeper to breeder side, if it wasn't for the relationships that I built with these breeders, I would be lost, or the
Yeah.
relationships I built with a lot of the friends that I've made, that's like family in the community now, I would be lost. And what I mean by, you can read this stuff in a book, but the reality of it is that it's not until you really experience it that you learn. This is one of those things that you have to experience it to really learn.
Yeah, one of the best pieces of advice I was given when I started out was you have one name in this industry. Like, don't screw it up. Integrity is key. Do what you say you're gonna do. Always go above and beyond. I kind of feel bad for people starting out now, just in the sense that there are so many people in the industry, you don't really know who to go to, who to trust, or anything. And there's many more trustful or trustworthy people in the hobby than not. But yeah, it's just overwhelming. There's a lot of information out there, and sometimes it's hard to determine who the best person is in relation to your goals. But yeah, no, I think this community is great. I mean, I've definitely found family in it, friends
Yeah.
I'll have for a lifetime. So it's been great.
So just talk a little bit about when did you start getting into reptiles?
Oh God. When I was a kid, I was always that dinosaur guy. Um, loved Pokemon, all that stuff. So I guess when I was like in middle school or something, I really started to get the bug for ball pythons. One of my teachers had it, or had several ball pythons, and that's when Brian Barczyk started his YouTube videos. So I was just downing those every single time he posted, and saw the bumblebee, and then like the lesser bee come out and start, all these color and morph combinations started coming out, and I fell in love. So after a couple of years of keeping different species of reptiles, living with the parents, my mom was not a snake person. So I had to try to convince her with probably like, I don't know, 6+ years of, talking and trying to educate her for me to get a ball python. She finally agreed. And I think I started keeping in 2016, but I had been researching the genetics and learning about them way before then, going to the shows and all that. So people who know me in Florida have seen me since I was pretty young.
Okay.
I've been around just talking with people, and that's a big thing about relationship building is, if you can't make the big moves, the big money moves, so to speak, like investing in a new project or putting a lot of money down on an animal or investment purposes, like build that relationship base, like build your network. And eventually, once that time does come where you can make that big move, that's when, you can make the most impact with what you got. So
exactly. So you actually started Redhead Reptiles, so I say 2016. What was your thought? Was your thought just to create animals that you love, or you actually knew at that particular time that at some point you wanted to go into business with reptiles?
So at the time, it's kind of funny. I did not want to do it as a business. I only wanted to do it as just making cool animals. I think I had like an idea before it was ever created, like to make the, God, I don't know, leopard, crystal, something, whatever. And I was all for it. And then I saw that it was made one year and I was like, God dang it. Like I missed it. But no, so eventually I think maybe like sometime in 2016, I talked with Bob Vu at the Orlando Repticon, and he and I, like, we just talked for hours about the business. And after that conversation, it really started to get me to think, like, maybe there is something to this. Maybe I can create a, business out of it. At the time, I had no idea where it would lead me.
Right.
But, I was younger back then. I was kind of like, well, it sounds better than, doing a stupid job somewhere else for $8 an hour. So if I could maybe do something that I enjoy, I want to pursue that. So yeah, that talk really had an impact on me, and that's when I started really building the network.
And then this was all in Florida, and then at some point life goes, and then you say, I'm coming to Maryland. Now, part of your coming to Maryland is like, okay, so we're going to go ahead and put this one out here and talk about it. And so Robbie stole my dream job and everybody's dream job in the chat we talk about, right? Robbie was the chosen one. That's the true story. Robbie he did steal it. He was the chosen one. So, hey, bro. Hey, Keys. So, Robbie, can you tell people, let's go slow though. How did it get from, okay, I'm doing this in Florida, and we also share a property management background, which I learned when me and Robbie was blessed to be at Bigger Pockets together in San Diego in October. Yeah. So I praised Robbie for where he is in life today, because going from property management to the job that he has now is like a reptile person's dream.
Dealing with animal crap is a lot better than dealing with people crap. Yeah. I don't know if I can swear on this, but I'll just leave it at that.
Yes.
Yeah. So
absolutely. So Robbie is going to tell y'all how that came about, because he already established that fact that he was doing his reptiles. Redhead Reptiles existed, but in Florida. And then why did someone come from Florida to Maryland?
I know, right? Actually, I will preface that I am loving the change here. Like, I'm the person out in the t-shirt and shorts at 30 degrees. I'm loving it. I hate the heat. So it goes back to building that relationship base. I started getting around people, not really trying to find a mentor, but those are the actions that I was taking. I was trying to find somebody who was going to kind of teach me the reins a little bit. Um, and I learned and picked up a lot of stuff along the way. I always pursued my passion first.
Yeah.
So I believed that somehow, some way, it was going to lead me to where I wanted to be. Um, I had a job with a local pet shop in Florida, and I had to drive like an hour and a half each way, and I was being paid pretty much in rats, so it would take up my whole weekend, but I would do it. Family Reptiles, if you guys know, down in Lakeland, I was working for them for a while,
Okay.
and worked for a couple small time breeders just to get experience with their collection and all that. Worked with several different species. I've worked with pretty much, I couldn't list them all, of non-venomous, and definitely worked with some venomous as well. So after that job, I took a Orient Center for Indigo Conservation job. So I started propagating Eastern indigos at the facility over in Eustis, Florida, which is where I lived for a little bit before the move here. So I was working with Eastern indigos, Crebos. That's where I got in some venomous training. But I know myself, I'm a little clumsy at points, so I'm not going to take that chance. I don't need to work with anything that could seriously injure me. I'm fine with just pet rocks. That's easy to deal with. That was happening in the background. I graduated UCF with an environmental studies degree, so I kind of had an in with some of those jobs because of that.
Okay.
Now, outside of that, in the snake hobby, I did not think I was going to create anything. So I was just starting to collect snakes. Redhead reptiles wasn't even a thing. And, I started really networking, building relationships. I'm going to sound like beating a dead horse here, but that was pretty much it. And one Daytona show, I think it was 2017. Can't remember.
Okay.
That's when Ozzy was vending over there. And I remember I was with my mom, and I saw Ozzy, and I was shaking. I was like, "Holy crap, like that's Ozzy." And she was like, "It's just a guy. Like, go up and introduce yourself." So one of my favorite jeans is Orange Stream. So I was like starstruck. I was like, "Oh my god, I gotta chat with this guy." So at that point, I kind of had that fire lit in me, like I'm gonna make something out of this.
Okay.
And we had a great conversation. I asked him, I'm like, what does it take to be successful? And I wasn't talking about animals. I was talking about, like, I saw him as somebody who was successful.
Right.
And, previous to that point in my life, there had been some hard times in our family where it kind of like I said, lit that fire where I was like, I'm not going to let anything like that happen again in my life or my future family's life. So, I kind of had that drive, and had a great conversation with him. I guess it always stuck with him. Over the years, we kept in touch. I bought a couple animals from him, but, I would ask him about real estate because that's when he told me, like, real estate is pretty much like the best investment vehicle for your money. And, a couple years down the road, I got on a call with him. I was at a job that I really didn't like. And he told me that, try to get experience with real estate and, it'd be good. So I got the property management job in Central Florida where we were managing around 250 units. And that was, it was great experience. And I recommend anybody, go out and do that just to get that under your belt. But damn, like that was a job. Very stressful. So earlier this year, time flies, and Ozzy gives me a call and offers me a job up here, fly up here in February just to talk with him about everything and move up here in April. So far, it's been night and day. Like, my life has completely changed. I saw a fork in the road, and I told myself I'd hate myself if I'd ever, not give myself the opportunity to try to take it. And a lot of people don't know this, but back in 2019, I was talking with Justin, and I was about to move up there to work for him. And that was previous to all this. So, if that says anything, it's, you got to put yourself out there. You got to really push yourself, provide value, like you and I were talking about earlier, and, it'll come back in spades. You just, any way you can build or establish a good foundational relationship, that's how you're going to move forward. We can all look at, there's a lot of money to be made in ball pythons, and yes, there is, but it's not about that. It's about the value you provide to others. So
I totally agree. And I always share, I think that, there's a lot of people who've made a lot of impact in my life. But when I think of the last couple years, just having those basic conversations with him. So when I say it was my dream job, y'all, like literally, first of all, it's a place of peace. Like it's really one of the cleanest facilities for him to think, because he says it's small, right?
Yep.
And it is considering compared to others, but it's not, right? One of the cleanest facilities, and to be able to work with somebody who's just so overall smart. And so when I said that Robbie was the chosen one, I don't know. We were walking when we were in San Diego. Me and Robbie was kind of walking together, and Ozzy and my husband was kind of walking together. When we were sitting down, or somehow it shifted, and Ozzy said, and you might have heard him say this, but he said he chose you, like, because he never had someone who really listened to things that he said the way that you did, on every level that you did. And that's why I said Robbie was the chosen one, because he's very reserved, very private. Naturally, you got to be some type of restrictive just in your personal life. And like I explained, I'm like that. My husband's like that. People just can't come here. Like, I have to make a whole bid. He has to know who you are, hung out with you. You met him. He's laid back. He's not like me. He's not the social butterfly that I am. So he needs to do research and all of that. And I get it. We come from different backgrounds. So his way of security is not to have anybody knowing how the house is laid out and all that kind of stuff. But with me, and what Robbie has talked about is becoming more social, he also kind of adapted to the fact that when I decided to make this change, that I was going to have to be more of a social person. And I noticed that, like Ozzy, and I consider Ozzy, of course, and others, the bigger breeders, they're forcing themselves to do that too. Like, I know daggone well, Ozzy don't care about no social media. Like,
exactly. And you know what? Like, I think it's good for me to say, as I was growing Redhead Reptiles, I was all about it. Like, I got the, endorphin or dopamine spike or whatever you want to call it when I got the likes coming in. And I started this, like, I don't have a plan. When I post every day, like, it's a 5-second post in the morning. I don't have a scheduled post thing or whatever. Like, some mornings I'm like, oh crap, I didn't post yet today. I should probably go do that. And I have no structure, and I totally believe that there are many other breeders that should have more followers than me. It's just Instagram algorithms. But as I was growing it, that rush that I got, it got less and less. And I always tell people, it's about the, solid relationships that you have. I would rather have 5 like family members out of that group of followers than 100,000, 1 million followers. Like, it really isn't, what it's meant to be, or what it's, hyped up to be. And, I enjoy talking with everybody. I love it. But as the channel grows, over time, it's almost like I find myself taking more of a back seat. Like, just let people enjoy it. And, I'll keep doing it because I enjoy it too. The reason why I created it was to pretty much post every day, to have somebody who is curious about how to become a successful ball python breeder to look at the very first post up to the current day's post and see, like, okay, this guy went from starting out with, this pastel animal, and now right now I'm working with Oz, and I'm producing some pretty cool stuff here too. So, that's the real reason why I started Redhead Reptiles. So, I it's just a fun little hobby for me. But yeah, I'm not. I don't like it when people come to me like asking how they can get 30,000 followers or 50,000 followers. It's just like, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Like, do provide value in the way that you see fit, and good stuff will come to you.
And the reality of it is something that you just said too. Just because it means you got 30,000 followers, don't mean that you have 30,000 supporters. And which one do you
Nope.
really like?
No.
Right?
I mean,
I see a lot of
half
that.
of them are
I
fake.
see a lot
So
of
yeah.
Have this big following, but like how many people are really supporting you is the difference. And that's what you want.
Yeah.
So Will asked the question, but I'm going to flip the question, Will, because this was Will's question. But I want Robbie to talk about what have you done since, like you said, that relationship and taking that feedback on the real estate side, because you and I have had some really good conversations. I'm like, well, damn, Robbie. Like,
yeah. So
I'm still reading books.
Hey, good. So taking away from snakes for a minute, yeah, we're big into real estate investing, and right now, Will, this is an apartment unit, and it is the only apartment unit in Frederick that allows snakes. So there you go. I made 100 calls, and I did that. So that is that. I am looking for a property up here, though. I love the area, and I plan to do a house hack. So one thing that I will start doing here, I did it down in Florida, and it worked out pretty well. Gonna run a direct mail campaign, probably at the start of the year, for 2+ units. 2 to 4 is considered residential, 5+ is considered commercial, but I can mail all in one. I'm talking with some pretty well-off investors, and they're doing a direct mail campaign as well over in Spokane, and they've been doing incredible. So I'm going to kind of follow their lead and try to get some deals coming into me.
That's amazing. So I was so impressed when we were walking, and you were just telling me, like, you were just so well advanced, and I'm like, yeah, this is why he was the chosen one. I think when I came back, so let's talk about that for just a minute. Bigger Pockets, since we're on that real estate. So, all right. So yes, I'm excited. I want to go, y'all, because it's San Diego. Y'all know I'm going to San Diego for any reason. You can tell me that,
that was
blood
fun.
drive is in San Diego. I'm gonna want to go, but it was back to back for me because we had to go in October and then come right back for the cancer walk the next month. So when the whole subject of Bigger Pockets came up for me, all of these things was happening in our lives, but I had already booked the trip. So it's just like, you can be making plans, y'all, that you have no idea what God is setting you up for, because I had no idea that in August, all of that was going to happen in my life when I booked that Bigger Pockets trip, right?
Yeah.
So then all of that happened. So it changed the whole perspective for us. And my husband went initially just because I don't fly alone. And he didn't register for any of the courses. But the whole time he's there, he's in like, I should have registered for this and I should have registered for that.
He's getting the bug.
It was an amazing experience. What was your, like, being a little further ahead, of course. Now, I have many years in multifamily housing. I retired from being a regional property manager, for those of you who don't know. But to work and manage somebody else's budget and finances and properties and assets, different, like the whole mindset flips when you're thinking about doing this for yourself. It's a whole nother risk factor. My company probably lost thousands of dollars I never knew about, right? So it's a whole nother risk factor. So for me, I came back with so many books. I even had books shipped, and I'm still reading books to prepare because my husband is more of an entrepreneur at heart. Let's just do it. I'm more of, I want to do that, but I need to have a full understanding because I like to make sure that I'm the most educated person in the room when I have to be in the room. I don't like for people to be able to play me because, of the lack of knowledge.
So one thing I would say to that is don't be the smartest person in the room. That's not the room you want to be in. I'm the same way. Like I like to prepare more, but that leads me into analysis paralysis. And I can tell you that I learned more.
Yep.
Will, I saw your comment. It's a direct mail campaign. So that means I'm like writing letters. If I am or not, or a machine is, it doesn't matter. But I'm sending those letters to the property owners for them to communicate to me to sell their property.
Yep.
But get enough knowledge or education in you to become like dangerous, like to be able to make that first move. Because like when I was doing the direct mail campaign, I didn't know what questions to ask. And I like the first call I got in, I was just like, well, great. Now what? Like, what do I say? And after, I mean, like, I'm still not good on the phone. That's not my forte. My forte is kind of behind the scenes. But you start to get a feeling of what questions you need to ask and kind of, how you can work around some conversations. So, if you pick your lane and decide how you're going to invest and how you're going to find deals and how you're going to, find the money for the deals or whatever, like go all in. Just find out your next step. That's the most important thing, because if you think you need to know 10 steps ahead, you're never going to make that first step. And I've been in that situation so many times that, that's the reason I don't have any investments yet, but I'm working on it. Yeah.
Well, one of the good things I learned too was that all of the different ways, that you don't even have to use your money. Like it's just so many options out there that, like, again, just kind of reading on that side, it's, exciting. But again, it's so motivating. Going back to, I would have never even thought down this road if it wasn't for being in, starting with all these Patreon and then, just building that personal connection with him and him being willing to share like it's so personally, like he goes deep. Most people don't really keep it real with you like that. So then you get here. What is your work day like? Like literally, how do you balance that? You got your collection and then you got, of course, this collection. Do you ever go home and feel like I don't feel like doing this anymore, or you feel like I think I would feel like yes?
Yeah. I'm not 100% all the time. Like there are some days where I could care less about the Instagram, or I go into the snake room and I'm like, oh my god, like I just did all this and now I have to do it again. But my collection isn't that big, so it doesn't really matter. I have long days during the week, and on the weekend I focus a little bit more of my time on real estate and advancing my personal growth and education. All that has like been a game changer for me since I moved up here. But yeah, like during the week, I'll go over there and we have specific tasks that we want to get done on specific days. And yeah, so I'd work out in the morning, go over there, get crap done, and then head back and do it all over here again, and pretty much go to sleep and repeat.
Yep. So how do you, like, now you're getting your first Maryland winter? Mm-hmm. So you said that you're adapting to that well, which is awesome. Maryland is okay.
I had to use an ice scraper for the first time the other day.
So it's getting
that was weird.
Cold now. We had some really, really cold days the last time. But in that process, like, how do you think you're going to make it okay through this winter? Or do you get to go home a lot? Like, do you just say, okay, I'm going to Florida?
Yeah, no, I go home and see family. I'm going to fly down this next week to see him for Christmas. So looking forward to that. Working with Oz, he's been great. I mean, like, we're family now. We get along very well, always have. And we have similar mindsets. I think that's one of the reasons why he wanted me up here, is because, he thinks that I can go far. And with him thinking that, like, that just puts more fire under my ass to, really push it. And I want to help him out too. Like that's a big part of it. Like I want him to be able to kind of,
live more.
Yeah. He's been successful, but I always heard people talking like, why doesn't Ozzy post more on social media and all that? And it's like, because he was busy. Like he was nonstop doing all this stuff. And if I'm able to be there and let him have more time with his family and enjoy his life and like use his success to actually live life a little bit more, I'm gonna do it. Like that it's my turn to help him out with that. So yeah, we get along very well and just have great conversations for sure.
Absolutely. And I definitely, it's a real brotherhood there, like
Yeah.
like real care. I mean, I remember him even saying, I'm flying back tonight because, I want Robbie to spend some more time, like it's, first of all, he understands being a shitty, what a shitty boss could be like too. So
Yeah.
I know he wants to be polar opposite of that. But again, there's a part of that y'all share a common dream. Like, so one of the things that impressed me the first time that I got to kind of tour down there, and guys, that's why I never did a video, because anytime I get to go there, it's look, fuck the phone. I am get to experience like a dream for me. And I remember the one day where he says, go ahead, you can touch the egg. The little snake was peeking out. Now, y'all know I never saw an egg hatch yet. So I'm like, I can touch. He said, yeah, feel the egg tooth. And like, he doesn't understand. I don't even think. It's like I'm welled up in emotion. Like, oh my God, I get to do this in Aussie's world, So, but what's impressive to me is that he feels the same way about his animals that I like. He opened the drawer and like he gets excited. Like, you think you got all of this? Like, this got to be owed to you? No, I like watch this. Like him get super excited in his own place, and that is magical. It lets you know that it's possible you won't ever like burn out. Like if you keep it and listen to some of that feedback, like that joy stays there.
Yeah. We, when I was first getting on and starting to work with him, we had a conversation. Like, we want to make sure that this job feels like we're having fun. Use the term job loosely, but we want to make sure, like, the second it doesn't feel like fun, it feels like work, that's when we start to know we have a problem. And that goes with anything in life. But yeah, no, we have had an awesome time so far. We've taken a couple trips, definitely worked our butts off, but we're enjoying it and having a good time and gonna continue it on.
Yep. Jewels, we kind of talked about that, but at this time, no, but hardly pursuing it, yes.
Yeah. No, I came close to closing on a couple down in Florida, but that was when COVID, started raising up all the prices, and the sellers came back to me saying, I know we agreed on these prices, but I'm gonna have to say no. And they were asking like 40,000 over, so I was like, all right, it's not gonna work out.
Yeah. And then we kind of talked about like the vacation homes. What was it? It was in a part of West Virginia. Did you ever look more into that?
Yeah, I'm still looking. In that area, there hasn't been too many hits. So I'm still looking every day. Yeah. But yeah.
There has been some crazy shifts even since October, like in the housing market, like some crazy shifts. Because even when we actually got to a point and we saw a property and reached out to the same people who we actually financed this home with, but they have a whole nother investment side as well. And it was just like opportunity maybe, but are we just doing this because we want to do it now, or would it be better for us if we just waited? But I actually think for me, I kind of want to go either south or like I don't want to. It's definitely not this DC Maryland market, and that's because of the laws on rent collections. It's a very tenant friendly place. I don't have time for that. Like you're gonna have to live here. We're gonna need you to pay, and then having that property management experience for me, I don't want it to feel like work again.
Yeah.
So I want to do it in a way that it doesn't.
Yeah, no, it's important to kind of find what type of investing you want to do. Especially it's great that that's a very tenant friendly area. So a lot of people just dive in and they get a bad tenant, and all of a sudden they have a nightmare trying to get a pro tenant out. But yeah, no, I mean, like, a lot of investors that we're talking with are saying like you want to try to be a little cash heavy, have some liquidity right now. We don't really know where the market's going, but
Right.
you know, there could be a lot of good deals come the next year. So might as well take that opportunity if it comes.
All right. So back to snakes. So there is a picture on your Instagram of the two-headed snake. Did
Yeah.
you produce that snake?
Yep. Yep. So just to put it out there, that snake hatched. My buddy was taking care of my animals that produced those clutches. He was
Okay.
taking care of them down in Florida because I didn't want to move them up. It was like right at that awkward time that they were laying eggs and all that. I didn't want to take them in the car trip up. So they hatched down in Florida. And my buddy Derek, Mere Mortal Morse, was taking care of them. And he texted me. And all I saw on the text was like, two snakes, and I thought he was talking about like two redhead clowns or something. I was like, okay, that's awesome. But I looked at the text again. It was like, dude, two-headed snake, and I'm like, what? So yeah, he sent me over a picture, and about a month later, he drove him up, and yeah, I've been taking care of him ever since. So.
And it looks like they doing fine. Like, so have you ever seen one like actually as an adult in captivity? I know I've seen some wild stuff, but
I don't know. I really haven't seen too many ball pythons that were two-headed. I've seen a couple, but I know it's extremely rare. So I don't know if there was like a good sample size to see an adult ball python that was two-headed. But yeah, they're doing well. Both heads eat.
that's what I was
I
going to
actually,
ask. How do you
yeah.
feed?
Yeah, so I had to start assist feeding both
Right.
heads just to make sure that everything worked out. Last night I actually gave it its first like fresh killed mouse hopper, and it ate it on its own. So that's a really big
Wow.
development. And yeah, it's been kind of crazy. Definitely, I think that Vine or geez, that reel hit like 2 million views or something. So that was kind of crazy. Definitely shot up the numbers there, but yeah, it's an interesting animal for sure.
Yeah, I mean it's amazing. Like I mean, I'm like, well, how do they eat? And just
Yeah.
which is the perfect example though why you do not euthanize an animal,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I know some people who will just, their thought process to do it immediately. And one of the things that I love that Kevin always said that if it eats and it thrives, we're going to have the animal. Ergo snorkels, which is snorkels is one of the cutest animals
Oh
on
yeah.
the,
Yeah.
on the internet.
A retake. Yeah.
Right. So I think that also like it teaches you so much more about nature. Like at some point this is science for us. Like whether in our heads, none of us are scientists. I'm not claiming that. But the experimental things that you have to go through sometimes with animal keeping, period, whether you're breeding or not, is very scientific. It's
Yeah.
very scientific. And so I think that's another thing that why we enjoy it so much because of that. So for you, how do you, because you're a big goal planner,
Mhm.
what is the systems that you utilize for creating your goals?
That's a good one. I'm currently working on that. I'm revising that for this coming year.
Okay.
I'm one thing I would say is don't rely on motivation because that'll get you only so far. One thing that I've been doing lately is I have a weekly report card that I fill out,
Okay.
and it pretty much gives me like what I like my wins for the week, what I got done,
Yeah.
what I didn't get done because that there's always something that I pushed off or I just blew under the rug because I didn't want to deal with it at the time. What I want to get done for the following week and just a note section like just going over notes. I figured I found out that I'm not a good daily note taker. Like write down 3 things you're grateful for in the morning. I'll give it 5 days before I lose that notebook. So something that I can kind of follow up with weekly keeps me on the right track. And another thing is being held accountable. So having what they call a mastermind group is huge. I'm a part of one, and it's 5 other guys and me, and we talk about everything, like every pillar of life, relationships, family, contribution, health, wealth, personal development, anything you can think of, like everything's on the table. We quote unquote strip naked, like, this is me, and this is where I'm struggling with, this is what I need help with, and we hold each other accountable. We're in a group chat and all that, and if you don't do what you're saying you're gonna do, then you're gonna be kind of pushed out in the group chat, like, hey, what are you doing? You told us you were going to get that done. So that was really good. And that it also goes back to building relationships. Like the stronger relationship ties you have with your accountability group, the more you'll feel like pushed to actually achieve what you set out to achieve. And that could be for snakes, it could be for anything. Yeah. So I strongly recommend people find some good accountability. It could be your significant other, just somebody to bounce ideas off of. But you definitely need to be held accountable some way.
Yeah, the funniest thing is that that's the one thing that I like. For me and my significant other, we can see things on a whole different path, right? And I love that about us.
That's good.
Lord Jesus, he saved some situations because he's seeing things on a whole other path. But because we can see things on a whole other path, one of the things that I love is that we understand that where we're not like-minded, that we have to have those conversations with people who are like-minded. And the beauty of that, the reason why I'm sharing that is because sometimes my husband can say the same thing, or your spouse, it don't have to be my husband or whoever, can say this, but you hear it better when you're speaking to the like-minded person. He was saying the same exact thing, but his way of communicating it was different, or my way of wanting to receive it. My mind is more open to the like-minded person than I was to the person that typically we would see the paths different.
The other thing is when you're talking with somebody else, like it could be a simple sentence or just your point of view on a certain subject, that could completely change the way you think about certain situations in your own life. So, I couldn't bring up an exact example right now, but, when you're surrounded by people who are interested in what you are interested in pursuing, and they bring up a point that you had never thought of, that can completely change the trajectory of where you're going. So, you can't downplay that.
And how did you, I know that, I've read a couple of the mastermind articles and things like that. Yeah. But for you, how did you find the mastermind group for you? Was it just, people you already connected with and y'all created the group, or you actually searched for this particular group?
So I kind of searched for this particular group. I've always wanted to be a part of it, and found myself, getting into it recently. The one I'm in is Go Abundance, but it's like the Ascend group. It's below the normal.
It's not the one that's gonna get us on the boat in San Diego group.
That is the group, but yeah, it's like I wasn't on that boat yet, not yet. I'm with everybody else who wants to be on the boat.
Okay.
But like you don't have to be a part of any organization. I was actually a part of another mastermind where it was just me and a couple other people at the local real estate meetups that I was going to. And, it was just me and a couple other kids. And earlier this year, one of them called me and we were talking about what each of us was doing at that current time. And we're like, oh my God, like all of us succeeded. I wanted to become better at ball python breeding and all that. Somebody else wanted to have a gig on a commercial spot for selling real estate. Another person wanted to wholesale deals. And another person wanted to syndicate in apartments. And literally every single one of us got to where we wanted to go because we helped each other out. And it wouldn't have happened the way that it did if we had never tried to get together and push each other.
Wow. And these are people who are all different. They're not all reptile people, just everybody who have different lanes in life just kind of come together with the same common.
That's a great point.
Goals and things
yeah.
like that.
I would find a group that is outside of the reptile industry, because they'll provide insight and different value, to your struggles and everything than another reptile person could. So I would definitely go for that.
And then a part of that, one of the things that you're saying over and over again as people talk about financial is the health factor. So talk a little bit about that. Like Robbie has shared, and you may have heard Ozzy say when he was on here too, that Robbie at one point was overweight.
Oh yeah. I was like close to 250 pounds. That circle kid, didn't know what a calorie was. But I sure as hell knew what a Krispy Kreme donut was. So yeah, I don't know. I started working out with like P90X. I think video games got me into it because like it included a free P90X guide or whatever. And I was like, oh, I'll try that out, and kind of got hooked with it. And then come January 1st of 2023, it'll be 8 years since I've been doing Insanity Max 30 every day. And I incorporate other workouts into my routine as well. This morning, I woke up at 5 o'clock on a Saturday, went to the gym, worked out for an hour, and I came back to the mastermind group, and now I'm doing this. Like, I'm going for it. But I think this year I'm really going to focus on what I'm eating.
Yeah.
A little bit more. Earlier in the year, I was having trouble with, feeling like I needed a drink. Property management do that to you. And I wanted to make sure that I was still in control. So I've definitely limited my drinking behaviors. And I've limited my unhealthy snacking and everything. I'm healthier than I've ever been. I feel great. But I'm also into, the kind of what you would call foo-foo stuff. I always used to think it was that, meditating. I love, really centers me, calms me, gives me a little bit more clarity on where I want to go, and provides me with a little bit more insight on myself. I do Wim Hof breathing, and that was brought up to me by Ozzy. And at first he was talking about it, and I'm like, that doesn't work. Like that doesn't even make sense. But I started doing it, and when I was consistent with it, it was almost like, I don't know, it's very hard to describe the benefit, but I had to do it every day to feel just centered. And that's the best way I could describe it. But I'm very focused on becoming like a, healthy individual in all aspects. Mm-hmm. And I feel better than I ever have before. So if anybody is struggling with that or anything, like, just reach out to me and I can definitely try to help you out.
I definitely think that the two go together. I always say at the times when I'm at my best, as far as my health, I make some of the best decisions. Like it's just amazing that the two do tie together. Like your ability to, not only that, your ability to fight off illnesses and things like that. It's tied into.
Speaking of, I'm getting over being sick, so I apologize for my voice.
Wow. Yeah. So to that point, and then, after COVID, I other than occasional trips and stuff like that, we don't tend to leave the house too much. But I will say, like with the kids, when the kids come over and things like that, you got to think about that and just like keep overall, because at the end of the day, I feel like that as you age, how you age is all dependent on what you do now, not what you're going to do then. Like you can't wait until you get 60 and say, oh, I'm going to start doing this, because at that particular point, your body is already conditioned itself for the downfall. You got to start building that up now to be able to continue to do the things that you want to do at 60. And that's important to everything that we do.
Yeah, one thing that I've really been focusing on, you always hear people say like, why, like, oh, eat organic or eat, this and not that. They never go into the science behind why you need to do that. And when you start to actually learn how it affects your body and what it does, you become very almost interested, like, oh, wait, yeah, I did feel, inflamed and, had heartburn, or, maybe my heart was racing a little bit more after that meal, whatever. Like, you start to kind of find, what do they call it? Like patterns, when you start to understand the science a little bit more behind being healthy. So definitely good to understand what certain foods do to you, and not everybody's the same. So, definitely work with your own body and listen to it, and everything will work out.
And for the ladies, when you start to have like hormonal changes, it becomes crucial. Like you would never realize that what you ate, what it did to your feet. Like what did you eat? What did it do to your heart rate? That's like one of the things. What did it do to you being able to sleep? Once your body starts to lack hormones as you get older, and I'm literally, lived that through. Even I was telling Robbie back in August, I injured my foot from walking. So we had that. July was, we always going hard June and July. And walking is something that I do. Like this,
Yeah.
I do this. And my foot had gotten this weird fracture, and I didn't kick it or nothing, or anything like that. And the doctor was reminding me, that when you lack hormones that you once had, what you eat makes a big difference. I had to go on a whole different diet to repair my foot. So even medicine alone wasn't going to fix this.
Yeah.
I had to eat differently to fix it. And I was, of course I was, I had to, because I was doing the cancer walk that was coming up, and I wasn't going to miss that.
Yeah.
But when you get older, you get to hear that more, Robbie. Like the doctors, your endocrinologists, and people start talking more about, well, what are you eating, before they even go to what we're going to medicate you with or what surgeries you have to have. It reflects on what we eat a whole lot.
Yeah.
And sugar being one of the worst.
Sugar's bad.
You don't hear people in the island say it all the time. Sugar is poison in their countries. But
Yep.
You hear doctors say that, we just kind of tone them out. They've been telling us for years, not too much sugar, brush your teeth after, eating sugar, like all of that kind of stuff. So as you get older, you get to understand how poisonous sugar is to your body. And if you don't understand it, you start to feel it.
Yeah.
You definitely start to feel it. So when people say, like, how can you drink coffee with no sugar? It's not worth it. Like it is.
Yeah.
That's
liquid calories is where people intake the most of their or I should reword that. People's liquid caloric intake is the highest amount of calories they have per day, usually. Yeah, most people don't think twice about down Gatorade or fruit juice, even orange juice you find at the grocery store. If you just drink water, like, oh my God, you will feel so much better. I promise you.
I agree. It is hard. Like alcohol, again, as you get older, you don't desire that as much. You have it when you have it, but you don't have to have it as much as you used to.
Yep.
So that's another thing. Now, far as getting back to reptiles, Robbie, do you have a desire to create a specific morph that you haven't already?
Nope. I just want to have fun. I'm gonna keep making neat animals. Last couple years have been pretty rough on odds for me. I know the projects we're working over at Aussies have really intrigued me. I really want to up my game with Redhead, of course, but Cypress and Orange Dream combinations in Clown, those have been absolutely outstanding. When you see those animals in person, I think it's the best project on the market right now. So definitely want to work more in that direction.
Okay. And then you just brought something up. Redhead. It didn't come from your redhead, or did it come from the redhead gene?
No, yeah. I'm still getting people messaging and asking me about it. When Justin made the video, I was messaging him. I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to have to make like an automatic email or message to people saying, no, not from me. Like, I am redheaded, but the gene is not from me. So, God, it originated somewhere else, but I did invest in it, with a redhead head clown male. This year, I produced the first redhead clowns for myself. And I do plan on working with the project a little bit more. I love the gene. I spoke with Justin in length about it before I invested in. It's technically like free marketing for me because it's the same name, but at the same time, I don't want to put money in a project that I'm just not interested in. And so we talked about it. We thought we saw legs with it, and obviously it's done pretty well over the years. So if I put my own spin on it or not, like that's it'll happen. But right now I'm just having fun. I still enjoy working with the animals. I don't want to get too big. You know, after taking care of Ozzy's collection, then coming home to a similar sized collection would be
Right.
a worst nightmare. That would be a job. That would be rough.
Right. I
So
don't want to make it a job. That's what
no,
I
no.
was
So
saying.
yeah, I'm keeping it small and just gonna enjoy what I do.
In the last year, what would you say your greatest experience was outside of your daily job? Because at the end of the day, it's still a job, right? Even though it's
Yeah,
living a dream and it might be some of our dream jobs, it's still work.
yeah.
Outside of that, what is one of the greatest experience you experienced in the last year?
In the last year, whew, that's a tough one. Seeing ice on the ground?
That is
No, no.
hilarious.
Um, God, I don't know. Honestly, like being around people at Daytona, at San Diego, all the community events and all that's all been great. Um, Seeing Brian Barczyk, that was really cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah,
Yes, yes. I actually think I
that was a
called
big
y'all
one.
that morning. Y'all was on your way to the airport.
Yeah, and like if you know me, I'm like a normal nice guy, like whatever, like
Right.
I'm just an everybody. Um, so is he. Like, you know, I understand a lot of history behind all the stuff that everybody says, but yeah, we had a great time. He's a great person. It was
I don't
enjoyable.
get. So I guess I purposely, at some point in my life, toned out a whole lot of that negative because I don't even know. Everybody say that I don't know what they're talking about. I've always felt sorry for him at a certain point. Just based on I just felt like nothing personal that
Yeah,
his dreams seemed derailed, but I never knew him to be anything but kind. Let me tell you, I would say this: if you didn't think that when we were in this last 10 league, he stood in that vestibule and I felt sorry for him. Like I wanted to save him, like, come on, Brian. Everybody who came there past him to want to hug him, shake his hand, take a picture, he made his stuff available. And I know that it wasn't his intention because it looked like he was going to go somewhere else, but he was so kind. And I remember saying to my husband, like, see, because I even joke with Dre about this all the time. Some people are cut out for being popular.
yeah.
I'm one of the people that I like to be popular to an extent. like,
I'd rather be rich than famous. I always tell people that. Yeah,
I
I don't
want to
want to be
be
famous.
like, hey, okay, enough, move on. Opposed to the person because of, it's Brian. And I know he wants to make sure all of the people and the kids who are no longer kids like us, get a good experience with him. But I felt sorry for him. I was like, I know he came to enjoy this. So now you just stuck in the vestibule. He probably was going to the bathroom. Who knew? But
Yeah,
I
no,
thought it
it's
was so
nonstop. When
cool.
we were over there, it was the same deal. It was just everybody wanting to get to see him, and I love that for him. He enjoys it, so it's all good. And I'll add one more thing, just so everybody doesn't think that I'm just a loser who just works and that's it. I camped at the Dry Tortugas this year in March, and that was absolutely beautiful. Got to snorkel.
Oh yeah, you
Um,
did talk about that.
yeah,
Wow,
and
he's
we
trying
spent
to
three
get you to
nights over
stay
there.
outside, y'all.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. If any of you get the chance to go, it's definitely a place to go see.
So that's like a dream trip for my husband. It's not the
Really?
dream trip. Like they always try to get me to go camping, and my first question is, can I see the hotel? And they be like, babe,
Oh
that ain't
no,
camping.
you're 70 miles away from the coast. Like you don't need a hotel. Nobody's got one.
I'm like,
Oh,
I need something. I watched too many movies where people just came on the islands and swept people up, and he just shake his head. But his dream trip. So if y'all ever take a boys trip to do something like that, let me know.
if
And
anybody wants to go shark diving with me, I'm down. I've already been once,
that's
but
his stuff too. Like
the next
he loves
yeah
sharks.
this next year I'm hoping to go whale shark diving. So yeah, let me know if anybody's interested.
So my shark is there's two experiences that he will never get me to do again. The shark experience. First of all, if you was gonna do that to me, I'd rather for it to have been nurse sharks and not sharks that's as big as me. So the good thing is that the man told me once you get in there, because we had one of those big old tanks around our head,
Mhm.
sharks can't attack from the top. So once he told me that, I said, okay, and I'm at the bottom. If you watch this video, y'all, it's on my Facebook page. People like, what is she doing? I'm sitting there picking up shark teeth because apparently they lose their teeth
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
randomly. So to keep me focused over the fact that there's these great big old sharks swimming, and my husband is like, "Oh, let me touch." I'm like, "No, no, no! Like, don't touch them." I freaked out. I said I would never do that again. I felt like I died twice, and I will never do the dolphins again because the dolphins was very fresh and they still fish in the water for me.
Oh my
I
God.
love the ocean when it's just me in the water. When you start putting animals and stuff around me, it's over.
No, I swam with lemon sharks and a bull shark 2021, and that was an amazing experience. I mean, one of them, they were like 7 foot, 8 foot animals, and they like swimming right up next to you. One of them bumped into me, and I was honestly as calm as I'd ever been in the water with them. Like I was more scared of not seeing the bottom of the ocean than I was swimming with sharks, which was really funny. But
That's I'm opposite.
I
Like
love them.
I'll jump off the boat in the middle of the ocean. I will go down. I can go down 15 feet for
Oof.
sure and not be bothered. And that's why I love the island so much because I love the way the water looks. But when you start putting stuff flashing by me, I think I'm out. Like I gotta go. I can't be here anymore. And my husband is like, "Let's go see what it was." No, you go see what it was. But I think like so that's one of the ways where we're different. I like put me in a fancy hotel. He's a country boy though, but he loves the outside. So when I told him about that, like his mind is set on doing it. I just gotta gear myself up and get licensed to carry my gun in Florida. I'm working on that. And then once we get that in order, then I can probably do it a little bit more comfortably. But you're telling me to sleep outside. But I looked it up and I can't lie, it is beautiful. Like it is very, very, very beautiful. And I also think a lot of camping areas are beautiful. It's just my whole thing of being outside and exposed that I gotta get my mind over.
You know, when you're able to go up to the fort, watch the sunrise over the islands, then go down, have an enjoyable day at the beach,
Mm-hmm.
you know, watch a Goliath grouper swim right next to a lemon shark at the dock, and then watch the sunset, and then watch the stars in the night sky with no light pollution, that'll change your mind in a second. Like that's just something that you got to do, you know? So
it's definitely a bucket list that I said to him I have to check off eventually. And I'll let you guys know how that goes. But I've done a lot of things lately that I normally wouldn't do. Now I'm actually into like I've always had guns for protections, but now I'm into gun collection. So like
cool.
Going to the range and shooting guns that I've never shot before. You know, I had made my mind up that I want to try to shoot an AR-15. I want to shoot a 50 caliber. Things that I never would have done before. But these are the things that he loves, you know, and these are things that my father loved, though. They have a lot of that in common. And the nature part. So my father was a big hunter. He camped all the time and hunted, you know, that was his thing. So having someone at least who knows how to do all of that is just convincing me that I'm going to be out in the woods or, you know, outside.
Not as bad as you think. Yeah.
Like what about like animals, like snakes and like not the kind of snakes we like, you know, like how do you prepare for all of that?
I don't know. I'm not like an avid camper, but definitely do your research on where you're gonna camp for sure.
Okay. if it's a sign that says
I know I can run, so I'm good.
Oh my God! All right, so we're gonna wrap this up. I appreciate Robbie giving me his day and some time because I know his days and times are very busy. But I do want to ask, like, if you could go back to like the 5-year-old Robbie. And looking where your life is today, is it any, and I probably know how you would answer this, but is it anything that you would have changed or anything that you would have wanted to go back and say, I could have done this better?
I want to live a life with no regrets. Every struggle that I've had growing up, every hard time has got me here. And if it weren't for those, I probably wouldn't be here. You know, every action I took, every action that I received, you know, it all led me here. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I don't think my 5-year-old self would have believed that I've had the opportunities I've had up until now. Hell, me on January 1st of this year would not have believed I would have the opportunities I had now.
Right.
So, one thing that I was talking to a pretty high up investor. He was asking me a couple questions, and it came to me as I was talking to him. I'm like, one thing that I wish um, I could go back and tell myself is not to worry so much about my future. I used to be horribly depressed, anxiety and all that. Thankfully, I'm past that now, but I always worried about my future. I'm like, man, I have these dreams and goals and aspirations, and I don't see myself doing that or becoming that. Um, but I would tell myself, if you believe in yourself and if you keep working towards your goals, 1% better every day type deal, um, you know, you're gonna make it. Where that is, you don't know. You can't ever know because outside forces are going to impact that.
Yeah.
But I definitely knew there was something better out there for me, and I kept working towards it. And right now it's paid off, and that would be the one thing I could go back and tell myself is not to worry so much as long as you keep working.
Robbie, I agree, and it kind of goes back to what you and I was talking about before the show started. I was sharing with Robbie because, of course, Robbie knows a lot about things that happen to me because I'm a part of Ozzy's Patreon, and a lot of decisions I made, I normally text the question to Ozzy because I respect my husband, respects just who he is and the jewels that he has dropped to us. But I was explaining to Robbie one of the greatest benefits of like being able to retire from my job is nothing financial. Like none of my regrets are financial. All of the benefit and regrets are surrounding on the fact that my children did not get what my grandkids are getting from me. And like Keys and them know, my grandkids has been here 10 days and I still didn't want them to leave because it's such a blessing to be able to give them all of me like this. Like I'm at their demand. My children, because I was always chasing my career and my future. I wanted to make sure that I made six figures at this time. And then once I got six figures, that wasn't enough. So going to what you said doesn't matter. Then you want this and you grinded it all this out. But at that same time, I look at my kids and like, wow, they didn't get none of this that my grandkids get. They
Yeah.
got the occasional trips and stuff like that. My grandkids they can wake up and say, hey, Pooh, look, show me the iPad. You see this? I want to go there today. And we can go because I don't have to go to work. And that's priceless. Like the value on that is it's so valuable to me, like I was saying to Robbie, it's so valuable that it's almost sad when they leave, after 10 days. The younger me would have not been able to, or wanted your grandkids here more than a weekend. I desire it because I feel like they're replacing in my soul what my kids missed and what I miss giving to my children.
Yeah, it's
So
all about
that's so
how,
true.
yeah, and like we were talking about earlier, like, people chasing money, it'll never come to you, um, the more value you provide in your life towards your relationships, community, what you put into your business, what you put into yourself, personal development is no joke. Uh, the more value you put into it, the more you'll get out. I totally believe that. If it weren't for that, I'll call it a law of nature. If it
Right.
weren't for that, I wouldn't be here. I've always tried to figure out like how can I, be different? How can I one up, you know, this idea or whatever. Just when you focus on value, that's when the money's going to come in, one way or another. Just keep on providing value and stuff will come back to you.
And I think that's the thing. Like even when we talk about the ball python business, and we talk about like seeing even a legend, that Robbie gets to work with, and I get to see occasionally at his home, be excited about their animals. I think that's something that we could apply there too, because right now everybody's stressed out about nothing. If you have value into what you're doing, you're placing the value into your animals, and I'm not talking about value whether it's a normal ball python or if it's a 5 gene ball python. I'm not 5 morph ball python. I'm not talking that. I'm talking about the value of applying yourself to something that you love and what you're getting out of that. mentally, because again, I believe that for a lot of us, all of us, I say all of us, there's nobody who is actually collecting animals, taking care of animals, who are not somehow substituting for some mental or social disability. I think if you put us all in the room, get us to circle which one we are, we all going to have something to circle. So I truly believe that. And everybody says it, Robbie. You said it on this show. You used to suffer with anxiety. I didn't even ask the question. Sometimes people, I'll ask the question because I notice things in their personalities. And I'll ask that question. But every time, I don't care who it is, either they'll say it or will say it, the reptiles do that for us. And I think that's one of the reasons why we got to push them more in mainstream, not just so we can all make ball python money. I want animals to be pushed, these animals we keep more into mainstream so we can save more people mentally. That's a big, big part of what I want to do.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, when I first started out, I had no intention of doing it as a business. None at all. I wasn't even remotely interested in it because I found that therapeutic, at like effect working with the animals. So, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, like, yes, there's money to be made, but we enjoy working with these animals. And if there wasn't money to be made, like, we would all still work with them, maybe at a lesser scale, because obviously we would have to, find income some other way. But that's like the cherry on top, really. If we put value into our collections, like, that's when we'll receive the money and the outcome. But I couldn't have said it better, Nicole.
Yeah. Well, again, I appreciate you doing this with us. And like I said, a lot of people in the chat, probably never heard you speak, really.
Yeah, I really haven't been on too many podcasts. Actually, it's a kind of a running joke between a couple of my friends and I. I've been invited to like 3 other podcasts, and I've actually done them. But every time, like, the recording was deleted somehow, or like the live broadcast didn't record.
We're
Or,
live.
yeah. So this is like starting fresh. I was really hoping like the 4th time wasn't a shot either, but this will probably be the first one out that's actually gonna be live. So
Yep. And when we end the broadcast, it's there for anyone who were not able to watch it live. I just always say, when you miss it live, you miss some of the amazing questions in the chats and the communication in the chat. A lot of appreciation in the chat, Robbie, for you coming on. Definitely,
I appreciate it.
I'm excited. I was excited about this. I'm just glad that I got to, even before this, spend some time with you and get to know you better, and just super cool. And just, I think you're very smart, like, even in the Patreon. Like, I think the whole dynamic of that Patreon is guided by a lot of what you're putting out there as well. Like, we look forward. That's one of the times, other than Aussie posting, that I jump in right away to see what's being said, because I can, a lot goes on in the Patreons, y'all. I'm in 2, so I can't like focus on everything because I got all these other focuses that I'm doing as well. But there is so much knowledge that even if I just scroll through things, I learn about so much in the Patreon. So the value of Patreons, whether it's Aussie's Patreon or whoever Patreon you're in, would I say that if you're putting into it and you're not getting anything valuable out of it, then I would just, rethink about, what Patreons you're in or why you're in them. Because you definitely want to be getting something out of it. Because there's a lot of information to soak in, to waste your time in groups that you're not, whether it's a Patreon or not, that you're not getting feedback from. Like Antoine's, I'm in Antoine's as well. I get a lot of information just on ball python breeding, just watching the other ball python breeders talk about what's happening. I don't always get to engage, but I get to see everything.
Yeah. I always tell people, and this goes for anything in life, you get what you give. That is it. If that was how I could sum life up, it is, you get what you give.
Yeah. And I mean, I think at the end of the day, we all we want something out of this, and we all want to keep pushing. We all should want to grow. We all should want to give. That's another important thing. But it's so many of us in this hobby, like the Robbies of the world, who are just doing amazing things, and some of us a little bit quietly than others. And I just want to continue to use this platform to make sure that those people are as exposed as the people who've been doing it a long time. So I appreciate you, Robbie, so
No,
much.
you're doing a great job, Nicole. I'm really loving this.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I try to stay to course on how this is built, and who I bring on and why I bring them on. Whoever comes on, I want to just be a place of peace and love and kindness, and the chats always make my day. I have never ever missed the Reptiles and Cocktails. Even when I walked the cancer walk, Dre filmed. He actually filmed it
Wow.
and brought me on camera. So I'm walking and I'm actually on camera at least for a while, but him and my sister ran my entire show that day. But I'm so dedicated to this because it's something that I always wanted to do. So kind of going back to what you said, when you're passionate about something, you're driven about it. This is one of the things that has provided me so much education. I learned so much from the guests on this show. Learned so much from the guests on this show. And so this is my book. And even as you talk and I take notes, I write certain things down, I research. This is for everybody who ever been on this show. You provided me something that I've learned. And this is what I'm writing down in these books. I'm actually writing down something that you're saying. And it's part of, growing me on the ball python side of things. And I just appreciate it. I appreciate the people who are not ball python, because I have a whole lot of animals that I bring on. Like next week, I'm bringing on Jim Jolly. I appreciate those people. But I appreciate the women who are doing ball pythons in the background. And they don't really, they're not as vocal as I am, but they're doing amazing things. I like to use the platforms for them as well. So anybody who comes on, I'm honored. Anybody I reach out to and you say, yes, I'm honored. There are some people who think like, oh my God, I can't believe you asked me. Yes, because I'm watching you too,
You want the everyday person, yeah.
Exactly. You're the ones that, I'm learning from as well. And so you just never know kind of what you put the good out there of yourselves, show your positive light. We all have our dark spaces, but that's not what we want to shine on the world. We want to kind of just shine our light and just kind of work on those dark spaces. And I think one of the things social media is doing, Robbie, is making that part of this hobby better. It's forcing that positive energy.
I agree. Like I said earlier, like there's a ton of great people in this industry, and a lot of relationships that you start to build over the years are because of social media, and those relationships turn into people that become family. So, it's huge what it's done for this industry.
Definitely what it's done for me. I think I talk to my reptile people more than my own family. So
yeah. I always show for people on my phone. I have like a million pictures of snakes and all that. I'm like, I swear I have family in here somewhere. Like
I do have family. But for
I'll find them one day.
Yes. So again, thank you so much, Robbie. I'm going to go ahead and tell everybody, here's your Saturday bag. Thank you for always being here with me. Yes, support USR Florida. Support each other. Support each other. Saturday is full of fun on the YouTubes and the Instagram lives. Support each other. Share our people's positive information and positive dedication to this hobby. But the one thing that is very important for us all is that we support each other so that this hobby can stand and have a future for my grandchild, who is adamant that she will be doing reptiles, and there's no future for her. So please.
Yeah. And definitely like happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas. Yes. If you guys celebrate. Like, love this time of year. Always, fun to look back and see, how you've been blessed over the years, and definitely have a lot to be grateful for, but I believe everybody does this year as well. So, yeah,
if you're breathing, you are blessed.
Yeah.
If you're breathing, you are blessed. And remember that. And just always reach out if you're having a heavy day, reach out to somebody you can talk to work off that heaviness, because the holidays kind of bring sadness to a lot of people. Some of us are fortunate to have family or not had major losses that makes the holiday sad, but we do acknowledge that some people do. So if you're not having this is a difficult time, reach out to somebody. Even if you just talk to somebody for 5 minutes, it could make a 5 minutes difference in you being here and you not being here. So
yeah.
With that said, peace, everybody. Y'all have a great one. Robbie, just hang on for just like another minute. Hold on one second.